Hello and welcome to episode 8 review of The Last of Us, the TV series. Sorry this one is a bit late, but today I thought I would dress in my coat for the winter vibes. Not because it is actually snowing outside, but, I thought I would fill the part. So, this episode does focus on the winter section of the game. So I'm going to start the review with a non-spoiler, and then we'll go into the spoilers. So, non-spoiler, I thought this was a very good episode. I thought it stuck faithfully, once again, to the actual source material. Obviously, parts like the combat sections were cut out of it because we don't need that in a TV series. Like, it would have been nice, I suppose, to see the coal mine section happen at another bloater. They haven't been infected in a while, which is, I don't know. I'm interested to see if people that don't watch the show care that the affected aren't in it as much as we know as players that they're in it. So that stuff will get skipped out. It's pretty much, it just goes from like cutscene beat to beat. But a lot of it just looks straight out of the game, in my opinion. The only differences were they kind of fleshed out again, David and the people that lived in David's camp. But I thought this one was well done. Like, I felt like when they did it with the other episode with the Hunters a while back, I was like, I don't care. Maybe it's because we know David a bit more in the game, so I care a bit more about who this David person is. Or I didn't really care who Kathleen and all her jabronis were. I was just like, oh, okay. So it was interesting. The other thing I feel that's interesting about the TV series, I mentioned it last week, that they're a bit heavy-handed with some of the storytelling. Again, I felt like there was a lot of stuff that's very subtly told in the game, where here it's like, no, this is obvious. If you didn't know, here's all the information that this is happening. I'll get more into what that is in the spoiler section. But yeah, I really liked it. My worries of it being rushed, I think this is the thing. We as like people that play the game feel like it's being rushed because the game is quite long. But that's because there's a lot of parts where you have to play the game. When you extract all of that from it, there's not that much to it. You're just going from what happened at the beginning, Ellie's still looking after Joel, then, the meeting of the characters in David's camp kind of thing, and then it's just literally going from cutscene to cutscene. And, once again, set design. Oh, the set design of the restaurant, I was like, as soon as it opened and then they're in there, I was like, oh, that's the place where the final showdown's going to happen. That was pretty exciting. I thought the person that played David did a good job. Nolan North is still creepier, but this David had a different twist. They kind of fleshed out, pardon the pun, his character and what's happening there a little bit more, which I thought that added well, because we don't really know in the game what David's deal is, like why he's the leader, what's going on. Whereas here they kind of like expand on that a bit more, so you get a little bit more context. Nice to see Troy Baker in it as well, playing Buddy Boy James. That's pretty cool. Also, I really liked how everyone, because it was like, this winter has been especially cruel, as he says in the game. Everyone looks like this winter has been especially cruel. Like, everyone's got all their skins like going like red. They're all like wearing all their coats and stuff. I was like, everyone does look pretty freezing. So yeah, I think let's move on into the spoiler section. Oh, actually, before we move on to that, I would just like to also say that there was a lot of cutscenes that were pulled directly from the game again, but I felt like these were done well. Like, I didn't feel like it was a copy and paste and trying to, like, I felt like some of the other ones, like the car scene is the one from a couple of episodes, one that sticks out in my mind particularly, is just trying to recreate the game and failing. Whereas these ones, it was like, okay, these are clearly the scenes, but they felt more natural, I guess, not trying to be something that was there, because I guess they were slightly remixed. So right, let's get into the spoilers. So firstly, let's talk about what I was mentioning, the things that I thought were subtle in the game, but not so subtle here. So it's kind of hinted at that David and all this crew, I guess I say hint if they don't outright explicitly say it, but I think you can put two and two together if you're smart, that they're cannibals, that they're eating people. I think, because Ellie says, oh, we're going to cut me up into tiny pieces, because in the game they see like a hand that you just go and like moves that across, and then there's also the bit where Joel's trying to find Ellie, and then you walk past and all the bodies are hanging upside down. So that, I guess that does confirm it in the game, I guess. But it's not like, but in this, they're like really heavily sort of like showing them having to eat whatever this meat is. There's this girl that's crying because her dad's died, and they're like, we'll bury him in the when it's spring or whatever. And then it's heavily implied that they are eating the dad, and everyone is not. Well, there's a couple of people that know, and you can see that they're uncomfortable with it. But everyone else is just blissfully eating their venison. I did like the scene, actually, when they're all eating it. They're like, what is it? Because I think they must be suspicious. People must be suspicious. They just don't want to stand up and like say anything. And they're like, it's venison. And then they walk in with a dead deer. It's like, what could this be? So I liked all that. So that was quite heavily shown to us in that. Reminded me of the 100, and when they all have to, those of you who watch the 100, you know about the dark year. That's what happened there. So the other bit I thought was interesting is that they made David's character a preacher, like a man of God, which is not part of the game. And so I guess I can understand that makes it, like, gives it a bit more like, why is he doing this? Why are people following him? And he's like literally giving like sermons in the morning to like I guess, quote unquote, indoctrinate people, I suppose, to, stay. I mean, it could, well, I was about to say it could be worse. I guess, like, there's, like, if you're out in that situation, you've got a place where someone's going to look after you and feed you. Even if they're a little bit preachy, you might just want to, like, get on by with it just so you can be fed and have somewhere to stay. Otherwise, you're out there in, like, a quarantine. I think all the places you could live, apart from Tommy's, what do they call that place? It's got an actual name. I can't remember it. Apart from living with Tommy, everywhere else looks like it sucks. It's bad to live there. So, yeah, I thought that was a nice twist to the character and what's going on in that camp. The other thing was, like, so you get these, like, creepy vibes from David. Now, I never really subscribed to this theory that he was a bit of a pedo. I was just kind of like, it's not, but this one they really, and I was like, I don't know, because in the game it's like, the bit where he puts his hands on the bar and then she like, tell her that Ace little girl, I broke your fucking finger. Oh my god, and then he called her to see you next Tuesday, and I was like, I don't hear that on TV much. You're not really supposed to say that on television here. So that was shocking. David's got a different side to him. So yeah, that's kind of like, I was like, okay, well maybe, I think he just wanted another strong person in the camp. But then here, it's so obvious that he's trying to, I didn't like that scene, like when he's like, so then they have the bit at the end where it's the showdown between Ellie and David, and I thought that was pretty cool. Obviously they can't do it the same way as like a boss fight in the game, but there's still a little bit of the hide and seek element happening, and then Ellie comes and stabs him, and then it's kind of a bit, I don't know, I don't even want to like, because I didn't like watching it. So this is the thing I thought was really interesting, how they changed. So then after all that, Ellie's able to like, turn things around and then just like, stabs the hell out of David's face, and it's happening for a long time, like uncomfortably long, like almost last was part 2 when she's like doing the same thing to that Nora woman. And so, Joel wakes up and he's like trying to get to her. We don't see much of that. And I think that's when we also see the upside down bodies. It's like, that wasn't a pretty sight. So, but this time in the game, Joel is the one that comes in and he's like, okay, you could stop now, and kind of like, makes her feel like she's safe again. And it's like, but here, I guess because this is a more violent Ellie, I guess. Here they just let her go to town until she feels like she's done. Then she leaves and then Joel bumps into her, which I don't know how I feel about that, because I guess I kind of like that Joel comes into the restaurant in the game because he can see like, oh my god, and he's able to like, pull away, whereas here he doesn't know what's happened. I don't think Ellie's gonna like go, oh, by the way, I just stabbed this guy like a billion times. And then I think that's why when we get to the next bit, in next week's episode, there's a little bit of like, Joel knows that, things happen and she had to like do stuff to survive. I mean, we do know that anyway, but I don't know. I feel like it's a bit weird that he doesn't really know what happened in this one. He just knows probably something went down. She had to like do what she had to do to survive. I did really like that scene. That was very touching. The whole like baby girl, blah blah blah. I was like, yes, they said the thing. Although I don't remember if he said the thing to Sarah in the first episode, so I'm not sure. I was kind of thinking like, are they gonna do that line? Are they not? Because I couldn't quite remember if it happened. It's been I don't know, 8 weeks since I watched that, so that was the main deviation that I thought was a bit But other than that, I thought it was really good. I wish they'd said what the name of the horse was though. That would have been, I don't know why that's a sticking point. Like, they should have named the horse. Didn't like when the horse died. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the winter section. I thought it was good. I liked it. Again, like I said last week, I thought this week I was watching an episode of The Last of Us. It feels maybe more like now they're really like coming back together with what really happened. I like how I say the game is what really happened. So next week we're gonna be I guess it's the finale. And I know the episode's like not that long, so like 45 minutes or whatever, so it's like a standard episode. But to be honest, when I get to the end of the game, I'm like, oh, it's the end of the game. There's a lot of gameplay that's happening in the end of the game bit, which again, like as we saw in this episode, it was just like, Ellie's looking after Joel, hunts a deer, meets in the campfire scene, and then that whole coal mine section gets skipped out, and then we come back to James coming back with the medicine, and then, they follow her back to camp, and then there's only a very short chase sequence, and then we're back at the, she's in the cage and whatnot, and then it's the end. So there's not really much going on. Whereas this one, if you think about it, there's a lot of long-winded walking where it's like you're feeling that things are a bit awkward here. Ellie's a bit down. Like we're gonna have, I guess it's spoilers for the next episode if you've not played the game. We're definitely probably gonna have a bit of like the walking, and you see that things are a bit distant. The giraffe scene. I'm looking forward to the giraffe scene. Like how is that gonna go down? Like is it gonna have the same? My favorite bit, which I don't think they're gonna be able to show in the show, which they show, is when you go and get the ladder and Ellie's not there, and he's like, Ellie, and she's like, oh yeah, sure, come in. Like she's like absent-minded. She's like not on her game. Like that's obviously not going to be in the TV series, but I really like that part of the game. So yeah, and then a lot of it's just like busy work. I feel at the end, you're just like walking, getting the final bits together. You're kind of preparing yourself, I guess, getting the last supplies for the big fight to come. Now, will they have the tunnel scene? I don't know. I mean, if you think about it, there is no more infected really. If you don't do that, then so maybe I don't know if it fits tonally though with the series, because you're gonna have to get maybe there is gonna be a big lost infected showdown to get whatever happens for like Ellie to be unconscious and then to reach the Firefly camp, or the hospital even. Yeah, or actually, what really happens is the thing with the bus and the water, because Ellie can't swim. Although we haven't really clarified that in the TV series, I don't think. Oh no, she does say that actually right in like episode 2. I don't know. I felt something different. Something different is going to happen there. There's going to be some kind of thing that has to happen to get to that moment to get them to the hospital and for her, then Joel and her to be separated. What that is, I don't know. Whether that's going to be an infected showdown, we shall find out. But I'm very excited for the end. I want to see that Marlene like, you'll just come back for her. Like, oh, I love that bit. And then obviously the talking, like, you know, they're in the car, and then the final moment. So that'll be pretty cool to see when that happens. So yeah, that is pretty much my thoughts on the penultimate episode of The Last of Us. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and I shall see you next week, hopefully not as late in the week, for the next review of the finale of The Last of Us, the TV show. I shall catch you then.